What's so special about today in history? Let's find out. October 30th. Quick events of the day. 1961. Tsar Bomba detonation. The Soviet Union detonated the largest hydrogen bomb ever built on Novaya Zemlya Island, the most powerful explosion in human history. 1973. Opening of the Bosphorus Bridge in Istanbul. For the first time, Asia and Europe were connected by a bridge over the Bosphorus Strait, symbolizing the unity of East and West. Early 1900s, the birth of modern radio. Independent radio stations began broadcasting simultaneously for the first time, marking the dawn of mass communication. Crazy lineup for a single day, right? But among all these, one innovation changed not just entertainment, but perception itself. The day television turned from black and white into color. The day the world turned to color. It was October 30th, 1951, a chilly autumn morning in New York City. In the CBS headquarters on 52nd Street, the air buzzed with tension and anticipation. Engineers in white shirts leaned over consoles filled with blinking lights. Thick cables coiled across the floor. The smell of hot metal and ozone filled the studio as the crew prepared for something humanity had never seen before: the world's first official color television broadcast. The show was called Premiere. It wasn't just a name, it was a prophecy. Led by William Paley, the visionary president of CBS, and Peter Goldmark, the Hungarian-born engineer who had devoted years to color technology, the team was ready to push television into a new dimension. As the clock struck noon, the network switched on its experimental color signal. In that instant, waves of red, blue, and green danced invisibly through the air, the very first color transmission to reach American homes. Only a few hundred lucky viewers could actually see it. Color televisions were rare and incredibly expensive, costing the equivalent of several months' salary. Department stores had a few units displayed in their windows, and small crowds gathered around them despite the rain. As the blurred shapes on screen sharpened, gasps spread through the onlookers. A woman in a vivid red dress appeared, followed by musicians in bright blue jackets and shimmering golden curtains. The world, once muted in grayscale, suddenly came alive. Inside the CBS studio, a similar silence fell before applause erupted. Technicians hugged, actors smiled, and William Paley stood motionless, eyes glistening. He knew they had just rewritten history. The technology behind it was astonishingly mechanical. The CBS color system used a spinning color wheel that rotated filters of red, green, and blue before the camera lens. On the receiving end, viewers' TVs contained similar spinning discs, perfectly synchronized to match the broadcast signal. The result was crude, flickering, and noisy, but it worked. Light itself had been tamed, dissected, and reborn. One engineer later described the moment. When that first color image appeared, nobody breathed. It was like watching the future unfold in front of you. But not everyone celebrated. Rival networks like NBC and RCA dismissed the experiment as impractical, warning that it was incompatible with black and white sets. Newspapers called it a miracle nobody can watch. Yet the seed had been planted, and it would soon grow beyond imagination. Within a few years, RCA perfected an electronic color broadcasting system, replacing the mechanical wheel with electronic signal encoding, the same basic principle that powers our screens today. Still, what made Premiere extraordinary wasn't just technology. It was what it represented, a shift in how humans perceived reality. Until that day, television had been about information. Now it could be about emotion. Color gave stories warmth, joy, fear, and energy. It turned screens into living canvases. As the broadcast ended, the exhausted CBS team walked outside into the cool New York evening. Neon signs glowed across the wet streets, reflecting red and gold in puddles. The irony wasn't lost on them. The real world suddenly looked more vivid too. They had changed not just what people watched, but how they saw. The dream of color television didn't appear overnight. As early as the 1920s, pioneers like John Logie Baird in Britain built crude mechanical color systems. Their spinning discs and mirrored lenses barely worked, but the idea persisted to make the gray world of radio waves shine with color. In the 1930s and 1940s, as television spread, the race for color intensified. Yet World War II halted most development. It wasn't until the late 1940s that CBS engineers resumed their work, blending wartime electronics with post-war optimism. America in the 1950s was ready for color, literally. After years of black and white newsreels showing war, depression, and uncertainty, people longed for brightness and life. Color television arrived not just as an invention, but as a symbol of hope. By 1954, RCA introduced a superior electronic system that was backward compatible with black and white sets, allowing millions to join the revolution. By the 1960s, the glow of color televisions illuminated living rooms across the country. Families gathered, mesmerized, as world events and entertainment unfolded in hues that felt almost magical. The transformation extended far beyond technology. Advertising became more persuasive, sports broadcasts more exciting, political debates more personal. The red of a presidential tie or the green of a football field now carried a meaning. Cinema, art, and fashion adapted. And soon color was no longer a luxury, it was an expectation. Color changed more than what people saw, it transformed how they felt. Psychologists discovered that color TV heightened emotional engagement and improved memory retention. Viewers didn't just remember shows, they remembered how they felt watching them. Red made hearts race, blue brought calm, yellow evoked warmth and optimism. Producers and advertisers quickly learned how to manipulate color for emotional effect. The golden glow of morning news, the moody blues of late-night dramas, all were intentional. Color became a universal emotional code. Directors spoke of it like composers spoke of notes. Each hue a key to human feeling. Today, color is everywhere, in 8K televisions, OLED screens, smartphones, and even in the tiny pixels of smartwatches. But all of it traces back to that experimental broadcast in 1951, when a handful of engineers dared to ask, what if light could tell stories? The journey from gray to color mirrors our own evolution, from survival to imagination, from seeing to feeling. Every glowing screen today, every image that moves us, carries a fragment of that October day. When CBS brought color to television, it did more than enhance sight. It deepened the human experience. It proved that technology, at its best, doesn't just change the world outside us, it changes the world within. On October 30th, 1951, the world didn't just watch TV, it saw in color for the first time. If you love stories where technology meets art and history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more moments that change the way we see the world.